Grok Imagine and Kling just went head-to-head, and only one of them wins outright. Grok Imagine is XAI's fast, cheap video model with audio built right in, and Kling is Kuaishou's tool built for cinematic, multi-shot control. Pick the wrong one for a render batch, and you burn credits and hours you can't get back. This comes down to 5 head-to-head tests, scored one at a time, and by the end, there's a real winner, not just a shrug. Test 1, output quality. Get this wrong, and the clip you hand off looks noticeably worse than the client or the algorithm expected. The artificial analysis image-to-video leaderboard scores models by public head-to-head voting, rather than a lab test. On it, Grok Imagine's newer 1.5 model sits at rank 4 with an ELO score of 1116. Kling's best entry, the 3.0 Pro version, sits at rank 13 with an ELO of 1077, and its other tiers rank lower still. That's a real gap, but it's a voting-based ranking, not a certified score, and snapshots move as new models get added. An earlier snapshot even had Grok at the top spot outright, so treat any single day's rank as a moving target, not gospel. Grok Imagine takes this one. That's one for Grok Imagine, 0 for Kling. If output quality here matches what you've seen in your own renders, drop a comment and let me know. But a good-looking clip on a leaderboard doesn't tell you if the motion holds up, and that's exactly what Test 2 checks. My name is Brian, and I'm in these tools 12 hours a day so you don't have to be. Test 2, motion realism and physics. This is the one that ruins a professional deliverable outright with warped hands, objects clipping through each other, and movement that just reads as fake. Here the sourcing actually favors Kling. Human Score is an academic benchmark that scores anatomical, kinematic, and physical correctness in generated motion. On it, Kling's 2.5 Turbo Pro model scores 90.8, just behind the co-leaders at 91.1. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Grok Imagine has no published score on this specific benchmark, which is a real gap in the evidence, not something worth papering over with a manufactured tie. One unaffiliated blog did score Grok against Google's VO model directly, 30 out of 40 versus VO's 36. But that's a single source and not even a Kling comparison. Kling wins this test on the strength of an actual academic score. But none of that matters if the character on screen stops looking like itself halfway through, and Test 3 settles exactly that. That levels the scoreboard at 1 for Grok Imagine, 1 for Kling. Test 3, image-to-video consistency. Animate a brand mascot or a specific person's face, and if the tool can't hold onto it, that face quietly turns into someone else by the 200th frame. Grok Imagine's answer here is Aurora 2's subject and compositional anchoring, a name mechanism built to keep a source image's lighting, identity, and framing intact, with up to 7 reference images to lock a character across generations. Community testing describes it holding one character steady across a full 1-minute chain narrative, though the widely repeated 78% consistency figure tied to Grok actually benchmarks its image stack against other image generators, not against Kling, so it doesn't count as a real head-to-head number here. Kling's side is more reputation than measurement. Reviewers call it tighter under movement, but no source here turned up a matching score for identity preservation, so call this one directional, not settled. That puts Grok Imagine up 2-1. A consistent character means nothing, though, if you can't afford to render it at scale. So let's talk about price. Grok Imagine wins this one for having an actual named system built for the job. Stick with me, because the last 4 tests are where this decision actually flips. Test 4. Cost per video generation. Batch out dozens of clips on the wrong tool, and a small per video price gap turns into real money by month's end. Grok Imagine's base rate starts around 5 cents a second, and on the same leaderboard from Test 1, its 1.5 model runs $8.40 a minute, with the older 1.0 model at $4.20. Kling's 3.0 lineup runs from $13.44 a minute on its cheapest tested tier up to $20.16 on the Pro tier, and even its 2.6 Pro model, priced at $840, ties Grok's older model on price while scoring lower on that same leaderboard. Put plainly, Grok Imagine is routinely running half to a third of Kling's permanent costs at an equal or better leaderboard rank. This one isn't close, but that price edge means nothing if the platform won't actually generate what you're trying to make in the first place. That's 3 for Grok Imagine, 1 for Kling. Test 5. Content moderation and creative restrictions. Burn a credit on a rejected prompt, or get caught by inconsistent enforcement that blocks something completely harmless, and the tool becomes useless for the job you needed it for. Grok Imagine launched allowing NSFW generation as a selling point, and that led to real harm, including non-consensual sexualized edits of real people, lawsuits, and country-level bans. XAI tightened enforcement after that, but reports through mid-2026 describe it now overblocking mundane, fully clothed edits too, and XAI's own FAQ confirms the NSFW setting doesn't actually turn off moderation, even on paid tiers. Kling took the opposite approach from day one, with zero tolerance for NSFW, gore, and illegal content at every tier, no paid workaround, plus an outright block on political content and public figures under Chinese regulatory rules Grok doesn't face. Neither tool is actually unrestricted, so call this test split. Grok wins on general creative range, Kling wins on predictability. The final score is 3 for Grok Imagine, 1 for Kling, and 1 split. So really, here's where that leaves each tool. Grok Imagine won output quality on the leaderboard, won cost by a wide margin, and won image-to-video consistency thanks to a real, named system. Its weak spots are the missing physics benchmark and moderation that still swings between too loose and too strict. Kling's case is smaller, but real. It has the one test in this whole comparison backed by an actual academic motion benchmark, and its content rules, while stricter, are at least predictable. What it doesn't have is a price that competes, so basically, here's which one you should actually pick, depending on the job you're doing. If you're pushing out volume, quick concepts, or social content that needs fast iteration, pick Grok Imagine. It's cheaper per minute, it ranks higher on the leaderboard used here, and it gives you more creative room for most everyday work. If you need physics-accurate motion for a professional or cinematic deliverable, or you're working somewhere that needs predictable, brand-safe moderation more than raw flexibility, pick Kling. My default pick is still Grok Imagine, and the reason is simple. Across these 5 tests, it wins more of them on sourced evidence, and most people watching this are optimizing for volume and price, not certified physics accuracy. One thing the docs don't spell out is that Grok's own pricing tiers aren't apples to apples either. That higher-ranked 1.5 model costs $840 a minute, double the $420 you'd pay for the older 1.0 version, just to get the leaderboard bump. So the whole cheaper than Kling claim only holds if you're actually comparing the right Grok tier against the right Kling tier, not just grabbing whichever number sounds best. If physics and motion are what actually matter for your work, watch the Kling versus VO 3.1 comparison next. That's the matchup where the fluid dynamics and hand movement questions get settled.